All right, guys, welcome to the KFO show, Kayak Fishing Obsessed. Guys, if you love kayak fishing, fishing in general, just love the kayak fishing community like I do and my guests do tonight, you are in the right place. My name's Darren. I'm your host. You can find me at Wendell Fishing on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, all those things. But tonight we got some great guests tonight. We got some pinch hitters. I got Fishing with Gramps. I got RJM Fishtales with us tonight, so I'm excited kind of bring the heat there. Who knows what we're going to talk about? I always got questions, but what I really love is when the listeners, you kind of drive the conversation, because I just love answering those questions. And so if you're on tonight and you have questions for any of us, feel free. I always like to get around those who spend a lot of time there. This was never meant to be everybody listen to what Darren has to say. One, that show would probably be like a minute long, and two, it'd be incredibly boring. So I'm excited to have Fishing with Gramps, RJM, tonight. And those of you listening from the podcast, also very grateful for you. Last week I was touting, like, it's kind of been blowing up. Like, the podcast has been kind of going crazy. So I think last week I was like, hey, everybody, this is really exciting. We got like 166 plays per episode. I just looked like an hour ago. It's at like 222 plays. And I think if you guys are on the community tab on YouTube, and sometimes YouTube pitches that out to people who are not part of the community and haven't subscribed. So most of the time you have to subscribe. But I was just last week, I was like, oh, we hit 1,000 plays. And I just checked a minute ago and it was 2,000 plays. So the podcast is going crazy. And if you're listening from the podcast, well, thank you. And we'll continue keeping the goods coming your way, guys. I want to give a shout out to the sponsor of the show, usrivermaps.com. Fishing with Gramps. I know you can hear me, but you're in the green room. I believe you have one of these, which is awesome. I'm going to show you guys a photo, because we had the Paddler's Playbook on a few weeks ago, and I saw the photo of what Jeff, who's the owner of that company, did for them. Check this out. Boom. How sick is that? That looks freaking awesome. So he custom made this for Drew and Chris over at the Paddler's Playbook. And I was like, man, I got to show that off, because that's incredible. These are some of the most detailed hydrological maps out there. So check it out. And I have a code for you. Get $35 off. And guess what the code is? Get $35 off. You're on the podcast. It's all lowercase. Get the $35 off. 35 with the two numbers. So Jeff, thanks for bringing value. He's the listener. He's like, hey guys, I'm starting a small business. I love to provide value to the show. And this is how he's doing it. So usrivermaps.com. Thank you, Jeff. All right, ladies and gentlemen, enough of me talking. Ryan, JT. Whoa, there it is. Welcome to the show, guys.
What's going on?
Gramps, what you got there?
This is the Indiana map of our waterways that I got after appearing on your last show. And this thing is incredible. I actually have it, keep it over there by my desk. It's so awesome. But I had to go grab it when you were talking about it, just to show how sweet this thing actually is.
I wonder where you went.
It's awesome. It's textured. I mean, it's really cool. Makes for a great access, Pete, here in the Fish Man Cave.
There it is. Well, JT, for those of you who don't know where you're from, tell us where you're from. Ryan, where are you hailing from? And my goodness, we already got 12 comments. I need to go over here.
I'm down in South Carolina, in the Charleston area.
All right. See, I'm a fundraiser by kind of profession, and I think my territory may be expanding to where you live. So a lot of times when I travel, I go fishing. So we might be going fishing sometime here in the future. JT,
go for bass or reds.
Ooh, you know what? I've never caught a red in my entire life.
Oh, it's so much fun. I mean, that's my saltwater sport fish to me. Minus a tarpon.
Oh, that's on my bucket list too. All right, we're gonna go down that rabbit hole. JT, tell us a little about yourself. For those of you who may not know, I'm not sure how you miss it. He was on the show before, but hey, people bounce in and out of these things.
I'm JT. I run the channel called Fishing with Gramps, affectionately started in honor of my grandfather way back in the day. And also being a grandpa myself, it's just one of those things. So it kind of came up, stuck with it. My goal was, I thought I was going to be kind of more educating, kids and whatnot, how to fish. And it's oddly enough, it's the other grandparents and parents and those who maybe went fishing when they were younger and really didn't stick with it and started coming back to it later. So I tend to more evolve and connect with other elderly. Am I old now? I'm 50. those of us heading slowly towards retirement. But yeah, so I'm Gramps, so I'm over here in Southern Indiana. Looking forward to getting with you at some point this year, and then Ryan later on this year down south. Well, we all three will be down that way, and we'll talk about that some too. But man, thanks for having me back. I appreciate being here.
Yeah, you're the first person I've had back on the show. Once again, Bass Geek was supposed to be on tonight, but he reached out to me this morning. He's like, "Hey guys, I'm not feeling good." I was like, "No problem. We'll get rescheduled. We'll get better." I have a couple guys I think I want to show up. So thank you guys for showing up. So let's start off here. Ryan, you are like right now judging the KBF 10, right?
Yes.
So explain to everybody. The majority of the people watching, according to the poll, don't do tournaments. But KBF, I've been talking about a lot. We're going to talk about a little bit more later on the Knucklehead Bass Fishing series. But what is the KBF 10? And let's take a deep dive on judging, because we were talking a little bit in the green room, and I was kind of fascinated. You're talking in like a different language, but I want to kind of unpack that a little bit. So what's the KBF 10? Start there. What does it mean to be a judge?
So, I mean, the KBF 10 is the top 10 anglers from the previous year through the trail series, points and everything else. And then you had the 10 Invitational where you can compete. Any of us could go there and compete and actually win our way into the 10. I think this is the last year Chad is going to do that. I think he's going to eliminate the 10 Invitational. But, you can just try to work on the trail series, and just the 10 is like the elite, and that's it. But it's just, it's the elite 10 guys and whoever else wins their way in. The top 10 guys grind all year round, though. They go to all the trail series, or a good part of them. They travel around the country, and they just grind all year to get in there to that top 10. And then if you're lucky enough to win your way into the 10 Invitational, you get to fish against those 10 guys. So, I mean, it's right now, if you pull up the standings on Fishing Chaos at one point tonight and we get into it, you can see from Gene Jensen to, I forgot who's in second place right now. I think Jake. I mean, they are within like, a couple inches of each other. I think, let me look real quick. I forgot who actually is in first place back and forth. I've been back and forth so much. Oh, Josh Stewart. Right now he's got almost an 8-inch lead.
Jeez.
But that can easily change tomorrow with everybody else. With that tight, that tight range there. So it's between Gene and Derek Brundle. I mean, you're talking a couple inches. So I mean, Gene did a post later on. Gene Jensen did a post later today, and I think he's found a little secret for tomorrow. And he caught a 20-incher at the end of the day. So you got to watch out for him tomorrow, moving up in that leaderboard. But if Josh Stewart can keep fishing the way he is, he'll be the winner this year.
My Instagram was absolutely blowing up today with all these standings. I was like, oh, Gene's number 2. And I started getting a little nervous, which I'm already nervous anyways, because I know he's absolutely going to put the smackdown on Team Wendell for the Knucklehead Challenge series. So I was like, oh, man. But it was fun kind of watching all that. Gramps, you got something to say?
Yeah, the cool thing is the funny thing about the 10 is a lot of those guys that are in the 10 tournament fish the weekend before, because what they want to do is slam the door on that 11th person jumping in. So for Glenn Langstrom to win his way in, it's really super hard to do. And Glenn's got a spot in my heart because he was actually my teammate at the Kayak Bass Fishing National Championship. He and my brother and Brian Sparks, who actually finished 10th overall, were Team Yak Shack. And had I caught a fish on the first day, we would have finished 3rd overall. But it's just the way it goes. So
it's your fault, is what you're saying.
So it's cool seeing somebody that I know go down there and win their way in. And this is actually his second trip to the 10. So, and then I've got some Old Town teammates that are down there, Casey Reed and Mr. Winkleman as well, competing in it too. And then, I mean, Gene Jensen, it's the Fluke Master. It's somebody that we've all, if you're a kayak angler and you like YouTube, you know who the Fluke Master is. So it's really cool watching these guys really hammer it out. But after this tournament, Gene is hanging it up and going back to doing YouTube and fishing for fun again. So it'll be wild.
So I had a question about that. You had Gene on your show recently, just a couple weeks ago, and I noticed, because I was on his YouTube channel a while back, and I just noticed there's like a gap of videos being made. I was like, where'd Where'd he go? I don't know Gene personally. Like I felt like I've said his name just because he runs in the same circle. I'm sure I'll hopefully get him on the show sometime, or definitely we'll meet him this year. But
Yep.
just give us a little sneak peek what's going on over there, because I heard Chad say the same thing. Gene's coming back to be like almost, if not exclusively, a kayak bass fisherman. Is that a true statement or is that false?
Well, I think what he's doing is he took a year and he's done videos obviously while he was on the trail, but his goal in life was to make the 10, which is basically the Daytona 500 of kayak bass fishing. And that was his goal. He wanted to prove that YouTubers could fish. There's always that, oh yeah, you go out and make videos, but you can't. He wanted to prove to, obviously to himself and others that he has what it takes to fish with the best. And he did that, So he's basically at his Super Bowl and, giving it his best shot. And, he's right there in the mix as far as the tournament goes. And the thing about where they're at, I mean, nobody caught a 24, but in Sunday's competition alone, 3 over 24 were caught.
Jeez.
So, I mean, it's you're talking double digit bass at that point. So it's realistically, anybody can go on a run tomorrow and come screaming back. Or somebody could just, if they hook into some good ones starting out. I mean, they're all onto something. But it's really anybody's game. It's going to be kind of fun to watch the leaderboards and actually see who brings this thing home and who cashes that $10,000 and drives home with a smile on their face.
Oh yeah. So you were sharing, you get like almost a wild card the last minute come in and win your chance. And so everybody fishes that to kind of edge out, because if one of the people were already qualified for it win it, you edge out of the 11 seed is what you're saying.
Yep, they shut the door and it's only the 10. So,
oh yeah, I mean,
they gotta,
percentage wise, that's a big percentage when there's only 10 of you.
Oh yeah, yep.
Fascinating. So I don't think I don't even aspire to even someday, a decade down the road. That is, I mean, I love fishing all the time. I just don't know. That's not. I don't think that's for me. But what we got here? Diggs. What's he say? In a way, kind of glad I got to 32. Hey, you know what?
I'll never have a need.
I guess.
Oh, yeah, I have the 32 for the redfish.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
I mean, and I can see that, but I probably won't ever catch a muskie or, just bass and smallies and, crappie.
Making those 26-inch catch board look small.
Some of those fish were hanging so much. It was like, I was like, man, that's like my belt line right there. That's a big fish.
Those are big. Those are huge.
Yeah, they were catching some giants.
Yeah, the biggest today was 22.5 by Russ Snyder. So he's got the biggest fish for today.
All right, so
when he caught that, I was like, "Oh, he's going to run away with this because it's Russ Snyder's. He's like the top dog in the sport. Him and a cup. They're always up there. But yeah, and he did well in both of the tournaments leading up to it as well. So you never know. I mean, it's really anybody's ball game. Who if I were to try to predict, no way to know.
I mean, Glenn was in first place for a good part of the day today too.
Yep.
So when's
after he thought that he basically fished all of his spots out just trying to qualify. So the fact that he's able to throw up some fish today and still be in the mix, you just never know.
Yep.
Exciting. It is exciting. So let's peel back the onion. So let's talk about a little behind the scenes. Like, how does all these fish get scored? And let's peel it back a little bit, because is it okay, Ryan, if I say, well, I already said it was. You're one of the judges. What does that mean? What do you do? How long do you do it for? What are the things you're looking for? Kind of how that is evolving as long as you've been doing it. Just take me on a little ride.
So, I've just been bugging Chad for a while now to get involved with him and stuff. So, just keep this like JT was saying before with sponsors, just keep bugging people. It's kind of how it works with my wife. I keep bugging her for a new truck and eventually she gives in. But, I've been bugging Chad. I mean, Chad's a busy man, and just kept on texting him and reaching out to him. And then he says, "You want to judge?" I says, "Yeah." And I kind of, that's going to evolve into some other things with him as well. I don't want to get, ahead of myself, but some other things I'm going to help him down the line probably next month with some things. But, as far as the judging though, being a fisherman and, being a kayak angler and competing myself, I know what they're looking for. So as coming into it, I know I had to look for against other people. You got to make sure their mouth is shut. against the board, you have your identifier clear and out there and have the right code, your hand placement, that's important. If you just go to, 9G in the handbook, it tells you, in the kayak bass fishing rules, it tells you, you can't cover the mouth. You can't have your hand in the gill plate. You can't have it behind the rear, what's those back fins called?
Dorsal?
JT, you might know better than me.
The back end.
Yeah.
The back of the fish. The back of the fish fin.
Yeah, Chad knows the fin. He throws it out there all the time. But, you just got to watch that no touch zone. And then you have your geo tab. You got to make sure you're fishing on a public body of water and, that you're there and not posting it somewhere else, especially during these trails, the trail events and the then. Those guys and most people who fish those know that you have to have your location services on. So that's a big thing. But as far as the catch 22 and stuff, we're a little bit lenient with it this year. That may change down the line, but that's pretty much about it. I mean, it's just you go through the fish, and I do it off a computer. I mean, you can do it off the phone, but doing it off your computer is a lot quicker, a lot faster, a lot clearer. I can zoom in. I mean, to put that tail right on the line. I mean, if it's right next to that line, it still counts as that measurement. A lot of people think you have to be over the line, but if you're just, right up to it or just barely touching it or just right there, we'll give you that, mark, that measurement. So, I mean, it's pretty cut and dry. You got to look for, duplicate fish, which a lot of people do by mistake. A lot of times it's not on purpose because you're just trying to upload and, pulling the fish out of your phone and putting it up. If you're in a bad area, you just, upload a poor quality of fish. But if it's too blurry for us, we have to reach out to them, have them upload us a better quality picture. But, I mean, it's pretty cut and dry. I mean, I've already made a mistake, but that's why we have a group text together. So we can say, hey, we saw something here. You can go back, see who did that. And we all talk about it so we can kind of learn from each other's mistakes. But, with all the amount of judges we have, there's about 4 or 5 of us total. I mean, you're not going to get past us. You're not going to get past all. You're not going to get past all of us. So there's enough eyes on those fish that it won't be missed. So
outside of like humans looking at these things, are there any type of like technological?
Yes, I mean,
what do those look like? Like to help before it gets to you?
There's a lot of hidden things in that app that we'll know where you are. Even if you don't have your location services on, we'll still know where you are. If not, then Chad will reach out to you and make sure he does a pin drop to make sure that you're on that body of water or whatever. But there's some other things. There's some things I don't think I even know about yet. Just to cut out the cheaters. I mean, I think now we're so involved that I think the cheaters are pretty much gone, and it's really hard to do it. As far as the fish, I think the only way you can probably get away with it is if you catch fish the day before and hide them somewhere, and go back and grab them. But
yeah.
I mean, as far as the picture taken in the app and the measuring boards, and there's really no way to cheat with those fish. And I mean, plus most of us are honest. I mean, we all put our money into these events, and there's an integrity behind kayak bass fishing. I think the cheaters are gone. I mean, not saying they're not still out there, but I think they're pretty much gone now, especially on these more elite tournaments.
Yeah, we got a question from Polo Chris. Solid question. Most guys submit the catch right away, or do you guys still wait till you get to the boat ramp and submit all 5 fish?
Most of them will post, even if they catch them, because we'll know when they catch them via their phone when the picture was taken. Most of them upload pretty quickly. Some wait maybe a couple hours, and if you get that that school of fish, you're not going to worry about uploading it. You're going to try to get what you can, save them in your phone, and go upload them later. But I mean, even with this past trail event, most of them are uploaded. I think there's only about maybe only 20 anglers out of all those anglers that kind of uploaded at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So they're pretty much.
They want to bring the heat at the end.
Yeah.
Everyone thinks there's a head, and they're like, bam, 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 bam.
Yeah, it does. I mean, it happens.
There are some sandbaggers out there for sure.
Especially if you got a few big ones on. You're going to wait.
Yeah.
Let everyone feel good about their day and then bring the heat in the last 5 minutes.
See, now me personally, I would want to upload my fish not as I catch them, but as soon as I can, just to make sure that my fish are good.
Yeah.
Because what happens if you think, oh, I got these 24-inch fish, but then you go back and look at your picture, and then you got to realize that you have an open mouth. So that's a half-inch deduction. I mean, I want to make sure my fish, I want to know where I stand. I want to upload my fish and know where I stand. I don't need to surprise anybody. That's just how I am.
Yeah. Well, we got something.
And sometimes you're just on water where there is no there is no signal. You can't do anything until later. Now, Ryan, a question for you, because I know this used to be, we used to always teach everybody, take your pictures in the gallery and then upload them into the app. But I was watching some recent stuff on another podcast, and they were talking about in the other app that everybody uses, they're actually saying now take the picture inside the app, because there is no question about the, catching the encryption and everything. You can literally take your pictures there, and if you have to submit them to the live well, which they have, then if you don't have any signal where you're at, even if you're sitting in a Walmart parking lot, you can upload those pictures and they still capture where you took the picture. Whereas especially in that app, if you did it in your gallery, then it would show you in the Walmart parking lot going, what are you doing with guys?
Uh-huh.
So do you know if in Fishing Chaos, is it better to take the picture now in the app versus in the gallery like we were kind of taught a couple years ago?
I think majority of the fish that are coming in, they're still being, off their gallery. That would be a question to find out from Chad. But I mean, like he was saying, there is encryption still in that photo. Even if you put it on your gallery, they still know, even if you are uploading that Walmart parking lot, we can see where those fish were still caught.
Okay, good.
They're still, but
yeah, because I know sometimes I've actually had to drive around the other side of a lake and basically pull off at the end of a bridge that was still by the corner of the lake to upload, because I didn't want it to look like I was, halfway home when the pictures were coming up. You just get paranoid because on Lake Monroe where I fish, there's a whole segment of that lake. It has zero cell signal.
Mm-hmm.
And, you don't get it until you get back at the highway. So you basically drive all the way around the lake and come back and then start uploading. So, I mean, it can happen. There's places out there, believe it or not, that still don't have cell signal.
Yeah, I mean, even when I fish on Lake Marion down here, there's still some areas, in South Carolina down here that I don't have cell service, but it'll take me, I waited and had that app open for 20 minutes to get one fish loaded up, because I'd rather make sure it's still coming up on the water than me going back to the ramp. But even in the past, before I even got into all this judging, I mean, I've even, talked to Chad back then. He says, as soon as you get cell service, upload them, but that was for the monthly challenges. I mean, those trail series, I mean, you're going to get them uploaded before you get off the water anyway. So, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, because when we were at the national championship, the ramp we were at literally walking halfway up the ramp, like, all right, give me some signal. But I mean, they knew we were at the ramp, so it was fine. It was just one of those, you don't want to take a chance.
No. So essentially, Ryan, what you're saying is Big Brother is watching. Even if you turn your stuff off, the app knows where you're at. That's good.
Yes. I mean, when you're fishing in these trail events and stuff, Chad will reach out to you and tell you to turn your location services on. Or you're not going to be fishing. You won't be fishing in those events. I mean, it is what it is.
It's solid. I love some integrity behind it. It makes everyone kind of get in and have all these questions. Here's the thing. I've been posting a lot about KBF member, Knucklehead series, and I'm getting all these questions. And a lot of them are just questions for people who've never done tournaments before, i.e. me. And these are all valid. I have some more here. Let's go ahead and take a look at these. From Pull My Finger.
So let me jump on this one.
Yeah, I got to say it for those in the podcast. So are the fish measured on app or by boards, and are the boards checked?
So in most of these events, you have certified boards. And so anything that especially with the three of us, if it's anything fish affiliated with Fishing Chaos or Tourney X, you're going to want to have an official measuring board that's manufactured by Catch. And there's a few different, models that you can use. One's a polycarbonate plastic one, great lightweight for those, if you're in kayaks or you're bank angling. And then many of us also have metal Catch X boards if you want some of the fancier designs. Like I've got one that's got a U.S. flag on it, and others where you can get your logos etched into it, things like that too. And so those boards you can't bend. There was a problem with cheaters in the past bending or flexing the board, trying to gain another, quarter inch or whatever. These are, they're built to deal with that. And plus there's also markings along the top edge of it. So everything kind of has to line up. So you definitely have eliminated, by having official boards, the ability for people to bend or flex these things, because they just don't bend.
No. Hey, I'm going to give you a second, JT, to give a shameless plug. Go for it. You got a new channel sponsor recently, and you gotta.
Oh yeah, I recently
share it.
partnered.
Come
Yeah.
on.
Yes, I
Share the
did
code.
recently. I recently partnered with Catch USA. Denny and the boys up there, Duke and the guys up there. I'm sitting there thinking of one of my other, but Duke and the guys up there make awesome products. They have a great heavy duty monster kayak cart. They also do a lot of the trophies and things like that for various tournaments. And but they are a metal shop that really knows what's going on when it comes to making products, especially the measuring devices that we all follow too. So yeah, big shout out to Duke and the guys up there. And they sponsor a lot of the kayak tournaments, and they do a lot of things for the kayak community as well. So it's really awesome to see what they've got going on up there in Northern Illinois.
Hey, don't you have a code?
Nope, not yet.
Not yet.
It's all brand new. But they were, I will say this, yeah, my bad. Recently, and I don't know if it's still going on or not, but if you put a Catch carbonate board in the cart, they've been marked down like 15% off. So you can save a few bucks. He knows a lot of bank anglers are going to be participating in this Knucklehead Bass Fishing series because they really want a shot at winning a kayak that may or may not be, will be. There'll be some kayaks given away. And, it's well worth the investment. So one of the Catch carbonate ones are, very light, easy to tow around and really do the job as well.
Can one of the listeners confirm that for us? If you put a Catch carbonate in your cart over there, and just let us know. We'll get the answer back in a minute. But I've got some questions here. This one comes from Hook Life. This one's for Gramps. Gramps. What's going on there?
Still eating in Indiana. Yeah, he's down in southern Indiana, so he's been on the water.
Southern Indiana. That's like the difference between Florida and Ohio. Is that Carbondale area?
Yeah, because I'm in southern Indiana. He's south.
Oh, down there.
He's down there by Louisville.
Louisville or
Louisville? Louisville.
Oh, here we go. Hook Life, my man. The carbonate boards are $28, free shipping, and arrives in 2 days. So
yeah, so they're normally like $35. So they've got them on sale, free shipping, and ship fast too. So that's awesome.
That's a hot deal. So if you're thinking about the Knucklehead series, just getting into it, don't have a catch board, sounds like now's the time. And if you get the aluminum ones, yeah, they jump up like $60, $70. So like you said, you can get them engraved with like your logo or whatever you want. So super nice. Let me guess, you're turning around to grab one. There it is. Red, white, and no white.
And my title sponsor right there where your people on the podcast can't see
it.
Yep, that's the bad boy right there.
Oh, I love it. Ruben, aka Cooler Lid, says, I'd be pissed if I missed out for the wrong hand placement. So here's my question on that. This one goes up to Ryan. What are the top 3 mistakes anglers make when it comes to?
Are we talking about the elite or are we talking about just every day?
I'm not going to talk about the elite because that is like so far from the majority of us listening in.
Every day. Know what's going on.
Well, it's really, I had a couple pictures the other day that the angler actually took the tail and pinched it or moved it and tried to get it, and his hand was on the tail still. So that happens still a lot, trying to get that extra quarter inch. I had to deny 2 of his fish because of that. But after those pictures were taken, the next day I noticed he went out to go fishing. I judged those fish. His hand was never near the tail again.
Oh yeah, that's a lesson you learned once.
Yeah, I mean, you have a large area. I mean, I could take my whole hand and stick it over the fish right in the middle, and I'm not going to be near anything. I had an angler the other day that I made the mistake on because I was going to the fish too fast. He actually had his his pinky up underneath the gill plate, and actually Chad caught that. So I went to go back and fix that. But, it's the gill plate, it's the tail, and the open mouth is your top 3 mistakes.
Yeah.
And like, we can kind of jump ahead with this past, weekend with the trail event with Mike Elsey. He videotaped his releases, and I suggest even with people who do the monthly challenges, just to get used to doing that video release on the fish, because that will save you if you ever jump into these trail events. Because even the trail events, they don't make it mandatory. It's more the champions, like the 10 and stuff, do the video release. But Mike still just did the video release, and that saved him this past weekend.
He sure did.
Because
he had 2 fish.
if you forget sometimes, not the end of the world. It's just, if you're taking a selfie with that, with that fish, just hit that record button and just video the fish going away. It takes you a few extra seconds, and that will save you if you have any major questions, if it comes down to, high dollar events.
So how's that save you? Like,
because with the video release, that you released that fish and you didn't use that same fish for another picture.
Got it.
So that fish is released and you call it different. That's what saved Mike this past weekend, because I had a fish that was really close, like extremely close. And there was a little bit of a glitch in the app, which, Chad's going to get taken care of. But, he video released that fish and it made him go and, kept him in first place. Without that, it would have been very, very hard, because, we have the public eye on us.
Yeah.
Well, and the thing is, too, Chad offers a bounty for anybody who's watching. If you challenge a fish as a spectator and you're successful, you get a prize.
What?
So Ryan will tell you, I challenged the fish that came out today. Both of them were 20.5 inches long. And I saw like 2 or 3, I'm like, it's the same. Or was that Mike Elsie's? That might have been Mike Elsie's fish. But I was like, they look very similar. It's like, you're like, this is the same fish. But it wasn't, because Chad had other indicators that, he, with his stuff, that he can overlay and do other, comparisons. Whereas to the naked eye, I'm like, well, that looks the same, that looks the same, and that looks the same. This is the same fish. Bang, challenge. Yeah.
Yeah, he's giving away the Dakota lithium. He ain't telling us what, but he's giving right now. Anybody watching this, podcast or anything, here, if you go to KBF, he wants the public right now to basically judge these fish for us. He wants you to find the mistakes before we do. And if you challenge the fish and it's a legit challenge, and I look at it and I actually approve that challenge, he's giving away a Dakota lithium prize pack, whatever that's going to consist of.
That's not.
It may be a lot of money.
Yeah.
So
tomorrow,
get down there, guys, and just look at all these fish coming in. While you're at work, taking a break, or at lunchtime, go on, look at those fish, and just submit a challenge.
Yeah, I got a question for you, JT. Weren't you supposed to be working today?
I was teleworking today. I mean, technically, I was doing both. I think they let me go to the bathroom every now and then. Update.
Challenge. Start challenging everything.
We got iced in today, so I had both computers going. So I was running stuff for work and kind of keep an eye on the leaderboard too. Now, Jay McCee's got a good comment at 9:00 about he caught a 23.5 inch last September monthly KBF with no hands. The big fish aren't the problem. The big fish generally aren't the ones jumping.
Yeah, they just lay there.
They're tired. They're old. They're like Gramps. They ain't moving too fast. It's those 15s and 16s that you're trying to pad and get your limit with first that want to go take off, So a lot of times they want to get back in the water. I've done videos where I talk about how to catch and photo release. Make sure you dip, especially on a hot summer day. Make sure you dip your board in the water to cool it down before you let fish on it. Because, you ain't going to be wanting jumping in those skillet. You're going to want to get out. It's the same thing. So I tell people that all the time, make sure you cool that board down before you put a fish on it. But a lot of us will put our nets at the end of the fence in case they do jump. They may jump into the net. Because my brother, when he started tournament fishing, because he's never done, KBF events until this year. We've fished forever, but this is his first year doing a board. And I can't tell him how many fish he lost off the board early on before he figured out a technique, because it's a learning process. But when we start talking about thanks for the advice, Gramps, I only catch 20s or better for moving forward. I'll be happy to possibly maybe catch one, possibly 2 20s here in my state of Indiana. It's a rarity. If we're hitting on 18s and 19s, you can win a tournament. But it's just, we don't have it that way up here. But yeah, the big fish like to lay still a little more. But yeah, it's fun, because when we talk about the state challenges and things like that, I know a lot of the watchers and listeners here tonight are getting maybe new into all this. And so as we talk about the Knucklehead Bass Fishing Series, that's more the recreational side, but that's really going to be a learning ground for those who just want to jump in and say you're bank fishing or you're even into kayak fishing now, and you want to get a little taste of competing with your buddies, a little smack talk about, me, because me and my brother and my buddy Matt, we're always all about it. All month long. We don't care what everybody else in the state's doing. It's about us three, we're just beating it, and we're just hammering back and forth. Oh, I got a 19, I got a 20, I got a 17. And we do it with the challenges because that's the fun place. So if you're not yet to that point where, you're talking about, oh, I want to go be some pro bass angler, because that ain't where Gramps is going. I like to compete and get to that level here and there. And realistically, my goal is only to go to the national championship, because that's where all the fun, cool stuff. I'm not trying to compete on the pro circuit, but just to be able to go and meet the Chad Hoovers, the Gene Jensens, the Christine Fisher, and the guys we see in the YouTube videos all the time, that's really cool. But on a more recreational level, it's fun to do these little challenges. And like we're doing this year with KBF with Catch 22 and the Knucklehead Bass Fishing Series, it's pretty awesome. So I see J-Mac's question about boat catches. No boats, as far as I know, this year in the Knucklehead Bass Fishing Series, because that the goal for that one is to obviously do some fundraising for our charities that we're working for, but it's to get bank anglers and kayak anglers somewhat involved in the challenges, in the fun. Now, if you want to participate, especially for a good veterans charity event, jump in the Catch 22. You have a few different flavors of it. One is the any 22, which means any species of fish. And, you just catch 22, and it goes by count. And realistically, that's just a fun way to fundraise. There is another, what they call the fun Catch 22, and that can be from the boat, the bank, or a kayak, however you want to fish them, in any water. So you got your private honey holes on your farm, or like me working on a federal installation where I've never been able to upload and play with those fish because it's private property. This other one that's for bank, kayak, or wherever, it's anything goes. Any bass, any water, by any method, except for dynamite and, snagging. But, so that's a way that those who have a boat or whatever can also get in and join part of the Catch 22, because again, the mission for that one is, while it's fun and see who can catch the biggest 22 fish, it's mostly about raising money this year for Heroes on the Water, whereas last year we raised $5,000 for Mission 22. So if you want to jump in and have some fun in Fishing Chaos, then please jump in the any 22 and the others. And then if you're a kayak angler, you want to do the state Catch 22, where you're kind of competing against your other kayak anglers for that charity, then please feel free to jump into that. But the Knucklehead Bass Fishing Series this year is going to be for bank and kayak, because again, what the whole point of all of this, from all of us here, from Wendell Fishing and Fishing with Gramps and Chad and all those guys, is to promote kayak bass fishing as a recreational sport, therapy, whatever you're fishing for. That's what we're trying to do. So we're just really trying to use it to promote, kayak fishing, because, we're kayak fishing obsessed, aren't we?
Heck yeah, we are. Yeah, we are.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm just yelling.
What really brought up that Catch 22 anywhere, anything basically for fun, is while I was actually judging the fish, it brought up to my attention. I said to Chad, I'm like, what am I doing with this? He's like, oh, I should make another, another category, because I think, it's kind of hard to judge the fish that people are banking, fishing from banks and uploading when we're out here doing it on the kayaks, with the certified catch boards and all that stuff. He's like, I got to make another category, in which he did it real quick. So that's what brought in the whole bass boat. And it's any watercraft from anywhere. Yeah. So yes, if you guys are on a bass boat and you guys want to get involved, come along and do it. Get the, cheaper catch board, and just still, you can upload the fish, practice with that. And once you get good at it, you can start doing it from a kayak too. Another tip too that I did in one of my videos is that, I have the Hobie. So with the longer 32-inch board. Yeah. It basically covers my full kayak. So I let that board sit on an angle, and it makes that fish go against that bump board, against that fence, and it almost closes their mouth. Like he was saying before, that, the one guy, JMCC, says, he doesn't do his hands. What I'll do is I'll take a picture with my hand on it, then I pull my hand away, and I'll just take a bunch, 3 or 4 more pictures. So by then the fish is relaxed. So I always submit my pictures without my hand on it too, but I make sure the mouth is closed.
Yeah.
So.
Well, really quick, I want to circle back and talk a little bit more about the Knucklehead Bass Fishing series. I know we talked about this a little bit, but I'm going to keep driving on it pretty hard because I'm getting a ton of questions on my YouTube channel about it. And it's new to me as well, and I'm finding the answers. So really quick, if you don't know what the Knucklehead Bass Fishing Tournament series is, JT, can you run us through that? I'm going to share my screen and take us to KBF website where you can be a member and share how people can do that. And then I'm going to go over to Fishing Chaos. So when they find it, they kind of know what they're looking for. So if you can pitch that for me, I'm going to work on sharing my screen in the back end.
Okay, so what the Knucklehead Bass Fishing Series is this year, again, it's a way to it's a recreational bass fishing league. So when when I say we, me, my brother, and another buddy, were down at Chad Hoover's over Veterans Day, and we were saying, what can we do that will make kayak bass fishing something that just regular Joes who are just getting into kayaks, or even those who are still bank fishing, who kind of want to learn about the whole tournament kind of thing, or we call it challenges as well. So what we set up was a way where you can sign up for one of 4 tournaments with or in support of, if you will, your favorite YouTubers. So you've got Wendell Fishing, you got Fishing with Gramps, you got Chad Hoover, you got Fluke Master. Everybody's going to kill me because I keep forgetting there's a UFC fighter that's going to have a team, but each YouTuber or influencer, whoever, are going to have a team, and each month you can fish a 30-day tournament, and the person who basically wins that tournament with the longest 5 fish wins that monthly spot. And what that qualifies them for is a spot on that person's team to go down and fish on Veterans Day weekend down in Huntsville, Alabama. And it's going to be, I think, on either Gunnersville Lake or Wheeler, or a combination of the both, in a tournament that's actually going to have a $10,000 payout to be split between the 4 members of that team. So say when Team Gramps wins, the 4 people who qualified for my team, when they win, they'll be splitting that $10,000 prize pack. Now that's the end goal, is to get, down there. But the goal here is to, money will be going to charities that, each one of us picks. My portion is going to go to the Fallen Outdoors, which is another veteran group up here. I'm going to donate it to the Indiana chapter, and then each person with a team is going to be going to have a section that goes. But we're also going to take 50% of those entry fees and give them back to the anglers in the form of different prizes. So like a kayak or other products that we can get from various sponsors. So you're going to have a lot of chances. And I mean, we talk about the Hero Cup and all that cool stuff, but the thing I love about the biggest thing is the fact that we may end up putting somebody who's fishing from the bank that's just not able to get into a kayak. We might be putting somebody in a kayak to be able to fish, from now on. Last year in the Catch 22, we gave away 3 pure fishing kayaks. I mean, there was Autopilot 120, my beloved.
Come on now,
my beloved Cadillac, and then 2 bona fides. And then so the goal here in this also is to have giveaways. And Joey Navoa here in the chat is the Marine Corps veteran that I met down at the KBF NC, and he won one of the bona fides that Chad gave away in Catch 22.
That's awesome.
So it's always good seeing Joey in the chat, just knowing that, and then they've actually posted other videos of the other guys. But again, our goal is it's a $15 entry fee. So it's cheap. If you're fishing the KBF State Challenge every month, that's $50. And then you're fishing against all the, pro hammers in your state every month, for a $15 entry fee, and to have some fun, whether you're fishing from the bank or the kayak, and a chance to do this. And I'm also going to have incentives even for people who, may not be able to go down there. So I might do like some various trophies, so that anybody can win stuff versus just the guy who, who's always on the biggest who's always on the biggest bass and, you know, wherever at in the country, I'm going to have some prizes and stuff for, you know, anybody can win instead of just the guys that are fishing around the monster 10 pounders down in Florida and Texas and California. So we're going to mix it up so everybody has a chance at winning all kinds of goodies.
Yeah. So if you want to get involved in this, like it hasn't really even started yet. None of the 4 month tournaments, which are varying months depending on where that particular content creator lives. And if this is like entry level, $15, like you said, you can pay for all 4 months and you save $5 by doing that. But you have to be a KBF member to do this. So if you're not a KBF member, that's not an additional cost. You can go actually be a free KBF member if you want to. And if you choose to do a different level, and you can check that out. So go to kayakbassfishing.com, become a member, then go over to fishingchaos.com and just type in find a tournament and start typing in Knucklehead and it'll pop up. And there you'll be able to see. Here, I'm going to show it. Was it showing when I was doing it earlier? Let me see.
I was showing in the background. You might have to move one of the screens so it takes this out or puts this down at the bottom.
Is it not showing the Fishing Chaos right now?
It is.
You'll have to drop your overlay until you get done.
Nah, forget this. All right. I need dual screens on my thing here. That's why I have an issue. Yeah. But nonetheless, and you can basically choose your content creator. And the beauty of this is that if you're like a strategy guy or girl and we're like, hey, I know my best month for fishing is July. I just always kill it in July. Well, you can actually sign up for multiple. You can sign up for my team. You can sign up for Gramps' team, Fluke Master team, Chad's team, as many teams as there are. And if your 22-inch bass might not win 3 or 4 other teams to win a spot, but it could win one of ours, right? Yeah. So you can play that strategy if you want, but I'm going to be talking about this till I'm blue in the face. This is a new tournament for me. I don't really fish tournaments, and so I'm kind of getting into this as well. I think I have, 10 people signed up so far, but it doesn't start till May. So check that out. One last thing, because I believe, Ryan, you're doing this, and the fish, you're going down regardless. So share how that's going to work.
You're talking about like if I fish any tournament or if I'm like at an event, obviously I won't be judging, especially if I'm in it. But either like I said, either way, I'm up in the air. I'm going to try to maybe get on a team just to get on, but if I don't, I'm going to go down just to help out with the event itself. You guys are going to be down there, so just be able to meet you guys in person since we just see each other on social media. So that's why I'm going down there. Plus, it's Veterans Day weekend and all that stuff. So it's really all for that, more or less. So really, I'm probably donating more of my money than anything. But, as far as the Knucklehead series, though, I'll still be judging it, until I go down there. I just won't be judging myself or where I'm fishing in my state, et cetera, or the teams I'm fishing on. I don't know. I'll have to get into that point. I haven't gotten that far with Chad to really ask him, like, am I going to judge these knuckleheads? But I mean, it may, if I'm fishing on a team, I probably can't judge my own team. So
yeah, probably a conflict of interest.
Yeah.
If you don't make one of the teams, all right, and you still caught a five fish in one of those months, you could actually, and Gramps, you just tell me to shut up when I start telling things that are incorrectly. You could actually travel down to Guntersville for a Friday fish off. Anybody. Yep. If you were part of the tournament and caught 5 fish in any of those months, you can come down and you can fish for a wild card team. And the top 5 on that wild card team will fish in the tournament the subsequent day against Fluke Master, Rudd, Wendell, Gramps, and whoever else. The teams, there's a lot of teams that haven't been like announced yet, but I know there's a lot in the mix. There could be 10 plus teams that you could fish against. So there's always, what I'm saying is that there's a chance. And if you just want to be there, you can come down for that fish off. So that is an option as well.
Yeah, and I'm sure as this whole thing grows and evolves till we actually get down there and I'll be all down there the same month. I'm sure there's going to be more prizes added. Chad will probably keep upgrading some stuff to be, other, things he puts out, notifiers, all that through Fishing Chaos. And he's just going to keep building it, I'm sure, on social media, the bigger it grows. And I mean, like you said, even with those other teams, if you catch those 5 fish, maybe that team, he may have a kayak for all the winners, for all the teams. Who knows how big this is going to grow? It all depends how much he can get those sponsors to kick in for him.
Yeah. And the idea is to get everybody, all these the content creators, all of their sponsors kind of involved. So I know like Gramps and I were talking about, okay, some potential prizes that we can put up and offer up. I'm not gonna say what these are yet because I know that wasn't a for sure thing, but this should be exciting. There's no reason why this shouldn't take off and be absolutely crazy. And it's just going to be an incredible, fun party.
To get more people in the kayaks. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, even Gene. I mean, I think Gene is going to get rid of his bass boat. To be honest with you, I think that's why I heard him say one time. If I'm not mistaken, I think he said he's actually going to get rid of it and just strictly kayak fish.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. But I mean, I've got a boat that I spend very little time in. You know, it's like I bought a boat last year and I spend 3 trips out, 3, 4. I have it for like when I have family and other things like that too. But you know, when I want to go fishing and I'm out with, you know, my friends and whatever, it's just let's get out in the kayaks because you can go so many different ways that you can do it. But yeah, I did see the comment. Somebody said, don't you have to catch 5? Yes, to qualify for the wild card weekend, you have to put up 5 fish on any board. You may not win, but that basically buys you, you know, that buys you a ticket if you want to show up in Guntersville in Huntsville, Alabama. And again, he's encouraging all kinds of folks to come down just to have a good weekend with other anglers and, you know, hang out and do stuff too. So, you know, it's kind of cool to see where this can go. I mean, I can see this in a couple of years where you're having a monster rally with, you know, big crowds showing up just to come out, have fun, and just do what we all love to do. But as Chad says, each one reach one. Everybody grab a buddy, get them into fishing, you know, kayak fishing, start them out, you know, fishing if they got to learn from the bank, and then help them adapt to the water. Sometimes it's really hard for people to try to learn all of it at once. So, you know, grab a friend, take them out, get them into fishing, get them hooked. And then, you know, like I said, each one reach one, and then we get them, you know, into kayak as they get comfortable and come enjoy what it, you know, you guys see us every week when we're in when we're in season, if you will, for those of us who have to shut it down for a few months. But you know, it makes it kind of fun too. So it's a great way to get on the water, off the bank, and just have a good hanging out with friends or just chilling by yourself. It's just, you know, there's something about it that a lot of us are really drawn to it, and it's affordable. I mean, it's so much cheaper than trying to get a boat and gas. And I say it's affordable. It starts out that way, but then we all start going, we get obsessed and go nuts.
That's why I started my YouTube channel.
Digits.
That's why I started my YouTube channel, because my wife and I, who's listening upstairs, were having discussions about how much money I was spending on on my gear. I was like, all right, so I'll start a channel, get it monetized, and hopefully cover the cost of my fishing. So I think I've been able to do that. So that's been good. Hey, let's switch gears a little bit. We had a question come in at like 8:56 p.m. and we are way past that, but I wanted to answer it. I can't answer it. I'm hoping one of you guys maybe be able to answer it. Comes in from William Mathis. Hey guys, I bought a 2018 Hobie Pro Angler 14 and want to get a depth finder, fish finder. I want something that works and that works well and try to stay under $1,000. Any suggestions?
Well, that's what I run. I mean, I have the Hobie PA14, and I just run a Garmin. I don't even have GPS on mine. I just have a strictly side view 7-inch striker from Garmin. And I mean, you know, where I fish, I mark my fish literally by where I know where I'm at, you know, visually. I know when I fish there, you know, I pretty much fish the same body of water, so I don't need all that stuff. And I think I only paid like $600 for it. Yeah. You know, I think I'm going to get my next unit. I think I'm going to get one with, you know, GPS capability and all that. This way I can mark my fish on different bodies of water. But for right now, where I'm fishing just the monthly challenges and stuff, I don't know if I'm ever going to hit the trail series. We'll find out. But, you know, the Garmin Striker side view works very well. I mean, it's very clear, and I think it's like $500-600. I mean, if you get into the GPS one, they might even be like only 7 or 8 now, maybe even less. I mean, mine's an older model, but I like the Garmins. I mean, they're very simple. That's all I've ever used. I mean, some people like Lowrance, and that's all they've ever used. I kind of stick with one brand and just run with it. I don't try to change because I learn it. So I just stick with the Garmins. I like them, and they're reasonably priced too.
I fished with Hummingbirds forever. I've actually got Hummingbirds on my boat. I did the Garmin last year with the live scope and all that too. But honestly, if you're a newer angler, it's so much to try to absorb in a short period. So this year, I actually sold the Garmin to a buddy because he was ready to move to that level. And I'm getting another Hummingbird with the side scan and the down because realistically, starting out, until you really learn, and when you start learning how to catch fish using your side scan, and then you're down, you want to kind of progress through it. It's kind of like going from paddle to motor in a kayak. You kind of want to do the same thing. Many of us started out with a Garmin Striker 4. I mean, that's probably the most common little small unit right there, water, temp, depth, everything you need. And then when you branch out with something with good side scan, you see that structure. Then you have something to cast to, because you're not really always looking for fish. You're looking for structure that the fish are going to be related to.
Yeah.
So when you start seeing that, that's when it starts opening up the world. A lot of people try to get, they hear about, live scope and blah, blah, blah. See what Kevin Van Dam and Dustin Connell and all these guys are doing. And it's cool to see the fish, but you don't know if those fish are always bass. And that just because you see them doesn't mean you can bite them. I mean, don't get me wrong. That forward facing is something else. I mean, it is something else. But even this year, since I sold that whole unit, I'm going to start with the down on the side and really get dialed in better with that before I add the Mega Live to my setup this year.
And I can't answer it because I'm still on my Garmin Striker 4, which is just doing me just fine right now. But maybe in the future I'll be dialing in.
And keep an eye.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say keep an eye on Bass Pro and everybody else too, because right as they start getting in the new stuff for the coming year, they'll have a lot of stuff still even now going on sale. So be watching for, they're moving out the 2022 models, waiting for the 23. And that's a good time to pick up, one of those 5 to 7 inch models with side scan. And that'll really give you a good advantage starting out.
Yeah, right on. I got a little comment here from Lost and Tackle. Hey, caught a 12 inch yesterday. Hey, you know what? If you were in the Knucklehead, that would have counted as one of the 5, because the minimum is 12 inch, right? Is that how that works?
Yep.
Yeah.
But if you're in catch 22, you already got fish on the board.
Boom. There we go. All right, I got some questions for you. RJM, you've been popping out videos like a madman recently, like one every other day.
I've been trying to get it out there, because you know how it is. I mean, I'm not even monetized yet, but I'm just trying to push it and just keep going after it. I mean, you Darren, you do a lot of hacks, how-tos and stuff like that. And I know that's what people like to see. So I've been trying to do some more of those myself, but I'm in construction, so I can build a lot of crazy stuff, but I have a problem with building stuff. I just rather, when it comes to fishing gear, I like to just buy it and be done with it. But yeah, I mean, I've been trying to do a lot of how-tos. I mean, I'm putting out another one this week, just how to clean your kayak, your simple maintenance, what I use on my kayak.
Yeah.
And I'm just throwing the fishing in between, because I've actually been off the water quite a bit, trying to get this whole KBF thing lined up, and the charity that I'm starting, I'm just trying to get things, involved with that. But, I'm still I'll be fishing real heavy catch 22 this month. And then March, when the Knucklehead series starts, I'm going to go back to my monthly challenge for March, and also the Knucklehead series. So March is going to be a lot of fishing.
Yeah.
So between now and March is going to be as many how-tos I can come up with. I'm picking up my trailer hopefully this month from On the Water.
Oh, wow. You're getting a good one.
Well, if you ask my wife, I'll tell you, I've been through about 7 kayak trails. I've had enclosed, I've had utilities. I have a video on my channel that I just had a utility recently. Then I went to the Will-I loader and thrown it on top of my roof rack. I love that idea. It was great. But now with this charity thing I'm starting, I need to get another kayak to be able to take out the Heroes on the Water, basically my version of it.
Yep.
So I have to get a trailer again to be able to take 2 kayaks. So that's why I'm getting the trailer. But Denny's doing it the way I want it. I'm putting my own rod tube on it. I have a video of actually how I painted my rod tube behind me.
It was sick looking. Go check that out if you haven't yet.
I'm throwing that stuff on the trailer myself to save money, but then he's making me provisions for that, for the Yakima rod box and the rod tube, and I'm going to mount those myself, which I'll do a video on to show you how I'm mounting to the trailer.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've been trying to
actually ask him to say, "Hey, I saw you painted those tubes. Give us a how-to on how you did it."
Yeah, it looks sick. Your paint job on it. I was like, oh man,
yeah,
nice. I actually watched that video.
Yeah, that was JT's idea. I mean, things like, as this starting out newer on YouTube, I have to, start doing videos on everything I do. I'm not used to doing that. I'm not used to being on camera all the time, because I always want to get things done and out of my, my list for the day. I always have those to-do lists. So if I could do that real quick and get it done and be happy with it, but now I got to start thinking like a YouTuber. Everything I do, I need to do a video on, because some people, some person may not know how to do that. I've been in construction my whole life. So I can build you anything. You know, I can build you a house. You know, right now I'm working on military bases all the time, doing electrical work, you know, as a project manager. I can do anything, but I got to start videoing it so I can show everybody else too, you know? So I have that advantage, but I have to start realizing that other people don't have that ability to be able to build things without watching, you know, with YouTube now, which is great for all the newer, you know, the newer generation or even the older guys like us. You know, YouTube has made anybody be able to do almost anything now by watching the video, which is great, you know, because there's a lot of people
Just
out there.
replace the toilet in the bathroom.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know, people are on budgets these days, especially now with the way the economy is and what we all just been through these past 3-4 years. I mean, it's very bad right now. So if you can do something yourself and save the money, it's, you know, that's why I started that channel. We'll be able to, you know, I started this channel for, you know, a couple different reasons, but now I want to start doing more to show, you know, how I do things as well, to share my experiences of fishing and be able to become monetized, because, you know, I want to put that money right back into the channel by giving baits away monthly that I do, you know, and I want to be able to give away a whole bunch of stuff to my subscribers, you know.
You just got like 4 more subscribers just by that sentence alone.
That's good.
Yeah,
I want to monetize, so I give stuff away. Everyone's like, I'm subscribe.
Yeah. So, I mean, right now, everything I'm giving away is coming out of my pocket. And then that's why I wanted to get into KBF, because that's my secondary income to be able to put towards my own charity, because like I've said in my videos, I don't know who's watched them, but, you know, asking people for money is tough, you know, because they say, oh, it's just another charity, you know. So I'm actually going to raise my own money for my own charity and just donate that money myself, you know, besides, you know, some of the donators I've had already. Yeah. So that's what I'm doing this whole channel for. And it's just evolving. And my wife has been very supportive. She's given me a lot of free time. She gives up a lot of her own free time so I can go on the water, do filming or shoot videos for YouTube. And she knows I'm going to be taking people out eventually. So she does a lot for this channel too as well. That's why my channel is RJM. It's Ryan, Jared, and Meredith. That's, you know, it's my family. So that's why I named the channel after.
Yeah.
And if you don't have the support, and I know Darren will say it too, you couldn't do it. I mean, I couldn't imagine trying to do this when even I was raising kids. But, you know, you have to have a wife that's patient and understand, let alone all the time you spend fishing. And then you spend all of the rest of your time editing, talking to people, promoting, doing everything that it takes, you know, to kind of get there. She's on the garage yelling, "You're welcome."
I heard her.
But it's, you know, it's you can't do that if you don't, you know. And I'm blessed to be married to an Army veteran who understands what it's not just about me fishing. It's about, you know, I'm trying to push recreational therapy to those who need the distraction, you know, whether it's military service or being a firefighter, policeman, somebody who's been a nurse or working in the wards from the pandemic for the last. You just need a break. You need a mental break, and to be able to focus on something else, being out in nature. We know the impact of it, and that's why I love this little network of folks that we have here on YouTube, because we're sharing that out with other people, and we want other people to understand why it's so important to us, because it is so relaxing.
Yeah. You know, my wife just made a comment. I don't know where it go. I got lost. I don't know where it went. There's a lot of people chatting it up. There it is. Wendell Woodworks. If you guys are woodworkers, check over my wife's channel. She's almost monetized. She's like 200 hours away from being monetized. But you're right. Significant others, our spouses, all really allow us to do what we do and reinvest back into that relationship. I know my wife and I went on a marriage retreat, Married for Life, this past weekend. It was freaking phenomenal. And just to be able to connect back in that way. But thank you, Danielle, for helping make this dream of mine come true. I know I couldn't do without you. So love you, man.
I'm telling you right now, if I could get somebody in there to do her cooking channel that I've been begging her to do for 2 years, she'd have that silver play button within 6 months.
Nice.
Someday she's in there. Quit.
My wife has a channel. She has like 21 videos. And she like says hi, and like 90 people subscribe. It's absolutely crazy. Her niche and what she's doing. I have like hundreds and hundreds and like grinding away, and she's better looking than I am. Anyways, we're gonna switch gears a little bit. Ryan, you're talking about how anybody can do anything on YouTube, make a video about anything, and you can even have your own hummingbird nectar recipe on YouTube if you wanted to, right, Gramps?
I forgot that's actually out there. Yeah. Yep. The hummingbird. I love my hummingbird. I love my hummingbirds, and I've had them, buzz right behind me when I, maybe was out, enjoying a cigar or something in the summertime, and they just buzz all around. But yep, I even did some videos just on how to with the recipe. You know why I did that? So I could remember every year to go back and watch it. So I remember the mix. That's why I made that hummingbird video.
Anybody else would have unlisted that video, not JT. It is just scroll down in his videos, and it is right there in the midst of all the other fishing videos. Thank you for that. I about died when I saw your hummingbird nectar recipe.
It's funny the gap that's in there because I used to do a lot of pew content, and then I used to actually be a competitive shooter. So there was a span of like 2 or 3 years there where all of my videos was something related, firearm. And of course, YouTube hates all that stuff now.
Oh yeah.
So I had to take all of that down. But that's why there's such a wide gap. Yeah, and right in the middle of all that, it's like, oh, here's how you make hummingbird mix.
Oh my gosh, I was just chuckling. Oh my goodness.
You kind of got me with that one. I forgot all about it.
Wait, I'm not gonna let you live it down now. Anytime you come on my show, I'm gonna ask you about it. Whew, oh my goodness, hilarious. So tell me what you guys got going on for the next year. What does 2023 look like for you? What are you working on? You mentioned you got a trailer coming up. I'm actually working on a trailer right now. I got an old utility trailer, and I was like, how can I make this like a double decker? So I found an adjustable truck ladder rack.
Yes,
guys, this is going to be freaking awesome. So working on that right now, and I'm going to pump that video out. It's taking me a while because I'm like starting to piece it all together, but that's going to be sweet. But Ryan, tell us what you got going on. What are you working on right now? What are some videos in the queue that nobody knows about and kind of get a sneak peek to?
Ooh, what do I have coming out? I have a list of videos I have on my notepad, and to be honest with you, I forgot what I was going to do. That's why I have to write that list down because I'm getting older and I'm starting to forget. But, like I said, this week I just have, I put one out today with just a little catch-22 challenge. There's actually a little humor to it, how I caught one fish. Cleaning my kayak and doing simple maintenance when I do the major cleaning on my kayak, because normally I'm the type of guy who will clean my kayak every time I come home. That's changed a bit because of everything else going on and having the kids. But, once it's back on a trailer again, I'll be keeping it clean. But, just have that maintenance video. That's coming out, I think Friday, maybe even Thursday, I forget. And then I want to do a video on the water. If you have no electronics on your kayak, when you go out, what are you going to look for?
Yeah.
What visual structure are you going to look for? That's another idea I have. I have a list. Yeah. I don't have it close to me, but yeah, I've been trying to do a whole list of just like how-to videos because watching somebody fish all the time does get boring. So if I just put out fishing videos all the time, I think I might not get as many subscribers. So I'm trying to do some more of those how-tos. But yeah, I have a list of about 40 items. That's how many thoughts came in my head. And I kind of do it randomly throughout the day. But if I don't write them down, I'll forget them. Like right now, I can't think of one right now because you caught me on the spot.
No, it's fine. No problem.
But that's speaking of monetize, my watch hours are fine. I'm well past the watch hours I need to be monetized. It's my subscribers is what's hurting me. I don't get those fancy thumbnails like you, Darren, but I'm more of a just get the video. I try to edit as nice as I can the way I want it, but having the fancy thumbnails, I haven't gotten into that yet because I don't know. I'm not a big fan of them.
Greg Blanchard doesn't use fancy thumbnails. I mean, just keep that. Pay attention to your analytics. Pay attention to who's watching your videos and serve them what's working. And what I mean by that is if you look at the various YouTubers out there, John B, very cinematic, very shows the adventure side of fishing.
Yeah.
He's not doing unboxings and, blah, but he's fishing. You know what I'm saying? Greg Blanchard, fishing. Maybe once or twice a year, he'll go over his, rod reviews, setups and stuff. He'll talk about baits that he's using while he's on the water, but he's fishing. Richard Jean, the fishing machine, everything right there on the water, talking about, rods, reels, generic stuff. And these are some John Creek Fishing Adventures. Again, fishing, very few live stream reviews that, so know your audience. I mean, it's sometimes we as YouTubers get to looking around and seeing what other people are doing. It's like, oh, I need to do that space. And that may not be the space that you're meant to be in. You know what I'm saying? It may be that you just going out fishing and showing people what it is that you're doing will end up working. You know, I've done a hodgepodge and a mix of stuff that I thought, because when I got started in actually producing YouTube fishing videos, is because I had a mom who has a son, and you know, it was back when Rona was going on, and she remembered going fishing with her dad, and she really enjoyed those times. She remembered fishing. She didn't remember how to fish. She's like, "Hey, I know you fish. Would you do some basic, you know, how to?" And I went to Walmart and picked up a Zebco 33 fishing kit, bobber line, and all that. And I said, "Hey, this is a fishing pole. This is the rod, the reel, the sea." You know, I just broke it down. And then from there, it was just a combination of progressing from hook, sinker, worm, crappie, bluegill, my granddaughter catching her first bluegill on video, you know, and, you know, just bringing me some joy over that. And then it grew from there. Okay, here's a spinning rod. This is the parts, the pieces, the line, you know, still bobbers and so forth, you know, and just work my way through it. And that became, you know, it's like I've evolved into a combination of Debo and Bass Geek, and, you know, but then I like to kayak fish. You know, my very first fishing videos on the channel was with me and my boys just out kayak fishing, showing fish. So realistically, find your path. I mean, it's funny to say, but my biggest videos are some shorts that I did. One was on a Texas rig and the other one's on a stupid tube. And the rest of them are just a mix of like kayak stuff, some fishing, you know, whatever. So you'll find your thing. I don't have a recipe. I always talk to Graham, and, you know, he's my primary sponsor at American Legacy Fishing. And it's like, he's like, you know, just do what you're doing, and you find your voice, and then people will listen. So sometimes I might be doing rod and reel reviews based on stuff I know. I've been playing with like a lot of high end stuff that is not my wheelhouse, but hey, you know, you don't know about something until you play with it. So why not? You know, I've played with stuff in certain budgets until now, and, you know, I'm able to move up and try some other things, but it's just one of those things where study what people like and keep giving it to them. If they want to see you fishing, they'll watch you fishing. But like you said, if you've got a video that's searchable, and, you know, like with those rod tubes, perfect, you know, because I would have not known to mix the paints to get that kind of a thing. I thought that was some kind of, you know, is he applying some decals or whatever? But what you showed was very simple. So the stuff that you're good at, make those videos and people will find it. But I think a good mix of kind of some review stuff, some, you know, some tips and tricks that you know, we all learn things the hard way. And all three of us may have the exact same tip, but all three of us may present the solution a different way.
Mm-hmm.
People will gravitate and find. And Darren will tell you, it's a grind. But it's like once it gets started, then it keeps, you know, it'll keep going too. So yeah, you got to keep after it. And that's all you can do.
All right, well, yeah. So my goal this year is, my first year I did 100 videos.
Yeah.
My goal this year is to do 150 videos.
There you
go. I think right now I'm probably about 50 into them. I think I'm at like 176 videos total, but some of those are the shorts. I'm not going to include those. So I want to do 150 videos. Is my goal this year. There will be a lot of fishing. That's what I started my channel with, was actually the monthly competitions for KBF, because I didn't see many of those on YouTube. So it shows you me fishing, measuring the fish, doing the whole catch board thing. So I'm going to always continue doing that. I just, this last 3-4 weeks is just haven't really been on the water that much, but I will be back hard, like I said, next month for that, and continuing on for the rest of the year. You know, now as I really tank at fishing this year, I'll be the national championship in 2024. So that'll all be recorded.
Yeah.
You know, our Knucklehead series stuff, I'll do, you know, some recording on that. And then, you know, I got the charity started. So I'm trying to work on getting a kayak donated, so I can take, you know, our heroes out, you know, so I changed it. Before I had tackle for veterans. Now it's tackle for heroes. I changed it now before I got too far into it, but I changed it to basically heroes on the water, what they're doing, you know. So it's our first responders. It's our doctors, our nurses, our veterans, and our current military, you know, because it gives me a wider range to find people to take out in the area where I'm at. You know, there's a lot of doctors and nurses down here, and you know, cops and, you know, firemen who, you know, to me, all those people and our veterans and our military military have donated so much of their own time to protect us, to serve us, and never do anything for themselves, or, they sacrifice all their time away from their family to help us, whether it's healing us either mentally or physically. So I want to build this wide, spread that out. So my goal is to, I got like $320 now. I've been telling people on my channel, I'm going to be completely transparent, because people have already said to me, oh, you're going to buy stuff for yourself? No, everything that I, all the donations or anything I personally put towards it, I'm keeping a spreadsheet. So anytime I get another donation or I donate myself, I update everybody and they know the total. When I go buy the tackle and the fishing pole and the gear that I'm going to give. So my plan is, is to take these guys and girls out in the water in a kayak that maybe never been or been before, and, and show them that being on the water is good for your mental health. Then at the end of the day, whether they want to be on tape, I'm going to ask these people if they want to record it and be on YouTube. If not, it's going to be off to the side with maybe just some posts on social media or nothing at all. Some people may not want to be, have their picture taken or be on video. I'm going to present them that rod, reel, a tackle box with tackle in it, and they get to take that home with them. Then I'm hoping down the line that I can get enough money, with my own income coming in and donations, that I can actually present kayaks to people too. So I want to really build this thing and stick with it, and my wife's going to support it, and it's going to be with us. That's a big part of our channel now is this charity.
Yeah.
So I'll be doing that, and then just my normal day job.
Yeah. I tip my hat to you. I started a nonprofit back in 2008. It's no joke to get all that paperwork. It's quite a bit to get kind of rocking and rolling. And so,
yeah, I mean, right now I just have on the GoFundMe page, until I get everything. I've been talking to Chad about it, and he says, don't do the nonprofit. He told me other routes to go about that. But, I'm going to try to, I'm going to turn RJM into a company. And, my wife knows how to start up companies. We've had companies in the past. So, I mean, we'll get there. But right now it's just a GoFundMe and, small steps, baby steps.
Yeah.
So,
well, I just had something happen that's never happened before. Colton, my man, just put up $40 for the show. Thank you, Colton. I promise this all goes back into the show, the channel, and this is episode 14. This is the first time someone's ever done that. So I'm kind of like speechless right now. Pretty
very nice.
Pretty awesome. So thank you, Colton. I'm just, what makes this so great is the community. It really does. And so it's sometimes it comes back at me like this, but man, the comments and just the community, and I'm meeting Ryan for the first time tonight. This is just, that's why I started the live show. I was like, I need some friends in the kayak fishing community. It wasn't about hours or clicks or watch hours or even about, people kicking some super thanks my way. But when it happens, thank you, Colton. That's what I'm trying to say. So that's freaking awesome. All right. We're like over time, man. That went by. Hour and 20 minutes went by fast. But I just want to give my journey really quick, because we talked about YouTube. If you're thinking about starting a YouTube channel, just do it, because I waited a full year before I actually did it, and I regretted that year, because I believe it gets a little bit more difficult as years go on and it gets a little more saturated. Outside of that, a lot of people are like, I don't know what I would possibly put up there. And for me, fishing videos are my worst watched videos. Like me out there fishing. No one cares. They can go do that themselves and watch themselves fishing or watch. So the number one piece of advice I give for someone starting a YouTube channel is this. YouTube is the number 2 search engine in the world, owned by the number 1 search engine in the world. And so people are, man, this is Kush coming in with $5, my man. Thank you. So you got search engines, and people aren't typing in to YouTube, I want to watch someone catch bass. That's not what they're typing in. They're typing in a question, how to do something. And so a lot of my videos have been around questions. So if you want a good place to start, go over to answerthepublic.com and type in anything you want your channel to be about, and it will tell you all the questions people are typing into Google about that particular topic. Make videos about that topic. If you want to succeed, answer people's questions. And so if you're thinking about it, hop into that. I'm getting some head nobbing over from Gramps. You got something to say?
Yeah, well, we were talking about family and community. I wanted to bring up one other family and community that's going on right now. Your guest, was it last week that you had Jeff Malott on?
Yeah.
So Jeff has had a little life-changing experience in the last week. And for those of you who haven't heard, and this coming from one grandfather to Jeff is also a grandfather, he found out that his son, Justin, and wife, they have a baby girl named Rowan. And she's 6 months old. And I think both the parents are Air Force veterans. Justin was a firefighter, I believe, in the Air Force. But they just found out that that Rowan is got a tumor, and they think the diagnosis is neuroblastoma. I never get the name right. The reason why I bring this up is the fishing community is coming out of the woodworks to support Jeff's family. Jeff is the co-host of Kayak Bass Nation. They do a lot of coverage of the sport and, you know, the tournament scene and things like that too, but they run a podcast as well. But when you hear a story, you know, like this, where, you know, a little one, especially breaks my heart, having 3 granddaughters, is going to be dealing with something like that. And obviously an expense to the family. They threw up a tournament on Tourney X, and basically it's going to be a fishing tournament where we're not requiring anybody to catch any fish. It's a way to make a $30 donation. Tourney X is donating 100% of everything that comes into this tournament to that family. So it's basically their version of GoFundMe using Tourney X, which is a tool that we anglers use for our tournaments. And there's also an option to donate an extra $10 or $20 as well too. So right now I've done a video on my Instagram with the link to that tournament in my Instagram profile. I actually shot a video before we went live, and it's basically a call to action video. And I will drop a link to that tournament in the chat, and then I'll come back after this chat's over and post a comment in here since we're in here talking about it. But again, $30 donation. If you're going to donate to anything this year, I can't think of a more. Yeah, I mean, I'm 100% into this. And again, these are folks that fish. They're in the community. They're in promoting the community to everybody in the world who listen. They're YouTubers just like we are, but enjoy the same passion we do. And, you know, this time it just hits a little one. The family's really going to need a lot of help with this too. So keeping Jeff and family, you know, Justin and his daughter, you know, Rowan, keeping them all in our prayers, and just wanted to do a quick shout out before we got out of here tonight.
No, solid. Thank you for doing that. I'm going to wrap it up, guys. Thank you for the sponsor, usrivermaps.com. JT, Ryan, thank you guys for spending your time. Appreciate what you said there. Our prayers are with Rowan and Jeff and his whole family. That's some tough news to get. And so pray the Lord will be with them. Colton, One Kush One, thank you guys for shooting up some super thanks. I'm still kind of speechless on that. And so we'll see you next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Thank you guys. See you next Tuesday.